pocket hugs. It's been ages since I've done some of these, but I mentioned them in one of my videos recently. It was the one where I was testing out various pigment pastes, and I said, oh, these blanks, I can use them for pocket hugs. And someone said, what are pocket hugs? And it suddenly occurred to me that maybe we don't all know what pocket hugs are. And then I thought, actually, you know what? About 6 months ago, I didn't. Anyway, we're going to make some. And I thought I would show you a really, really easy way of making them that requires pretty much no skill whatsoever. So a great little beginner's project if you want to make a cute little gift for friends, maybe at Christmas, Valentine's Day, little thank yous, if you've got a friend who's been ill maybe, whatever. They're just nice little tokens. So what you're going to need is, first of all, some cards to mount them on. Now I've cut these out with my Cricut machine, but of course you could print them on your printer, or you could even hand draw them and then just cut them out. Because I kind of mass produce them at times, I've geared my Cricut up to do this. Now I can put the links in the description so you can all access my little templates for this. The only thing is I've no idea how to make that work for countries other than Great Britain. If anybody knows where in the Cricut settings I can change that so that people in America and all the other countries can access the files that I share, please let me know. I need to do some research, I guess. But anyway, I have actually got that template, which you're welcome to steal. I've also, because I was having a bit of a lazy moment and I was mass producing, I've got my Cricut to cut out the shapes of the hearts. Look, I taught it to do that a while ago. And again, I have got a template for that. So if I could get it set up so that you can all access it, I wish I could. For those in Britain though, I'll put you the link in. Some of the paper is too fine to go through the Cricut machine. It just eats this. So you can see that the piece that I cut the thicker card hearts out of, I used as a template and drew it and just cut them out with some scissors. But that's what we're going to need. So we've got this heart mould. You can use any heart mould, obviously. It's just that I've got 3 of these, and I do end up using them for demoing things, so I end up with lots of little hearts. So I've cut my cards, designed my cards to fit those. Anyway, let's put those to one side safely. Other thing you're going to need then, other than your things to put in them, is obviously some resin. Now, you could, if you want to do these really quick, of course you could use UV resin. If you, depending on what design you want to do, you could use polyurethane resin, because that cures really quickly as well. You could use aquacast, jesmonite, all sorts. But I want it to be clear, and the only way I know of getting clear is with resin. So, as I said, you could use UV curing resin, but I'm just going to use epoxy. I've got some quick cure epoxy that does in about 4 hours, so that'll do nicely. Right, I'll get some resin mixed up and we'll talk a little bit more and make as I talk. Okay, sorry if you can hear some noises in the background, by the way. That is my blind clanking because I've got my window open, my fan's going, and it's windy. But obviously you want great ventilation when you're working with resin. I've got all my PPE organised anyway, but you know, I like to fling all the windows open even if it's cold. When it is really cold, I mean it's really warm in Britain at the moment, but when it is cold, obviously, you know, I'll fling all the windows open. Then when I've finished, I'll let the fumes clear for a bit, and then shut the windows, shut the door, that sort of thing. Warm things back up, otherwise the resin won't cure. Now the resin, on the subject of resin, as I said, it's a quick curing one, takes about 4 hours. It's that warm here at the moment that actually it might cure a bit quicker, but I'll leave it for the 4 hours. And it is called, what's it called? That's Apex 1. That's what it's called, I believe. Let's just check that for you. 1 coat, that's it. Apex 1 coat. She says, knocking things over. All right. So Apex 1 coat, very thick. Look, it's not only a fast curing one, it's really good for things like very shallow things like doming. Because it's so thick, it domes really well. It's great for things like these. It's great for coasters. It's also got a really high heat resistance, which of course if you're making coasters is a good thing. So I'll just carry on stirring and I'll be back with you in a moment. I've been stirring now for probably about 4 minutes, I think. Yeah, 4 minutes. Now you do need to stir thoroughly, wait till it goes all nice and clear. As usual, I've managed to introduce a few bubbles. Really don't worry about that. I could put it through my airless machine to suck the bubbles out, but I've learnt with these Apex resins you don't really need to. Is with most of these, I say most because I've just remembered these gorgeous gilding flakes that I've got a bit obsessed with lately. I'm just going to show you how this easy way of using just little inlays like this. Now I've done the Petri effect with them, I've done all sorts of fancy alcohol ink effects. You know, the sky's the limit really. So you could stamp on them, you could put stickers in them or on them, you can paint on them afterwards, you can put beads in them, you can do all sorts. I have got a couple of videos where I got a bit crazy with making little hearts, so I'll put you the link to one of those at the end of this video, and if you hang on to the end you'll get a little videos suggestions pop up at the top here. That's what those are for. That's where I put ones that I think, if you like this one, you might like that one, that sort of thing. So if you want a sort of a logical flow to them, it's not necessarily chronological. I'm not very good at doing things in like proper batches. So I might have to mix a bit more up. Oh dear. Might have to mix a bit more to do all of these, but what I wanted to do before I go too much further, because I know it'll go everywhere, is one, using these flakes, and I wanted to do this while they were still, well, it's still wet. And what I really could do with this, finding some darn tweezers. Now this one I wanted to put it in while it was wet, and I don't want to stir it in. I want to push it in. If you stir it, these gilding flakes break down into lovely little bits and they're really beautiful. But I wanted to see what happens if you just push it in. Like so. You can actually burnish them onto the mould if you want as well. You can do so much with these blooming gilding flakes. I've got a few videos on the gilding flakes as well. Just have a rummage. If you look through the Resin Creations playlist and possibly the Glitter Creations one, you will find a load of these sort of things. I'll carry on doing that, get them all filled up, and I will see you for the next stage when these have either cured or 50% cured. Actually 50% cured is quite good because they're sticky still, and you can then your little inlays will stick to it. Right, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so these are starting to firm up. Not you know, they're not really cured, but it's firmed up a little bit, and it's fairly thick and firm anyway. So let's just go for it now. All I'm going to do, I've already popped in just to see if it was okay, a little piece of acetate with a swirly pattern on. So there you go. See, look, it'll just stick onto the surface without curling up. That's the idea. So that was a piece of foiled paper. This is a bit of mirror card. So I need a nice clean one to put that on onto. Give it a little press. I'm hoping it won't get any bubbles trapped under it, but you know, at the end of the day, if it does, it does. You'll see there's no bubbles actually in the resin now. They all cleared beautifully. So I'm trying to put these kind of down from one side and then press them a little bit. Yeah, to keep the bubbles out. Now this, look, my Cricut, when it cuts these hearts, for some reason does it double cut. It's something about the way I've set it up. So there, I've got an outline. So I chucked some glitter in this one. Let's give it an outline. There, don't know what that's going to look like. Glittery, I think this is a handmade paper or something. It's some strange paper I've had for ages. A lot of this is a throwback to my old paper crafting days. No, paw prints. So this is a great way of using up bits, and also bits of resin. This is one of the moulds, as you may have seen in some of my videos. It's one of those sort of go-to moulds that I have sat to one side. That was a scrap I'd used the stencil for, look. Yeah, I have it sat to one side so that if I have little bits of resin left over. You know, I always say there's never anything goes to waste. Now look at this. I wish I could remember. I've had some of these papers for years, but look at that. I wish I could remember where I got that from. I've got a few sheets left, but not many. And again, it was far too fine to go through the Cricut machine. So I cut it out with some scissors. There's a lovely glitter card. The other thing that's quite nice to do with this, you could actually use photos. You could put photos in. I know some people laminate them first. I tend to just chuck them in. But, you know, you could. More glittery card. Now this is something I haven't done before, but I've seen other people do it. That's a bit of fabric. I couldn't persuade the Cricut to cut that, so I cut it with my scissors. There we are. Oh look, I've got a couple left. Oh no, what shall I do? Right, you know, when in doubt, what do? You get glitter. And which glitter shall we try? I've still got so many glitters I haven't actually tried yet. Now that glitter sank because I put it in while it was runnier, and I did also spritz the back with alcohol, so it will have sunk. No, I sort of expected it to, but look at these. Woohoo! Let's tell you what these are called. Hang on, that is Bloopal. Isn't it pretty? It's like a holographic. Now these shouldn't sink, theoretically, so I'm going to try and cover the whole back, which probably means I'll end up with a bit of an excess to brush off afterwards. But there we go. Now you know how glitters, once you dome them, I've done a video on this, haven't I? You get an extra woohoo with them. It really, what's this one called? Let It Go. I think there's a pun on Let It Snow or something. No, Let It Go, Let It Go. Oh, it's that song from Frozen, isn't it? Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. Don't panic. What was I just saying? Oh, I can't remember what I was saying now. Can't have been very important, can it? Oh yes, doming glitters. That was it. Oh dear, I'd be dangerous if I had a brain, wouldn't I? I did a video on this a little while ago. When you dome glitters, it's one of the colour on the back of that. It makes the colours in the glitter pop more. It makes the spark, it brings the sparkle out, and so this should be quite. What's this one? Don't know. Oh yeah, go on. Let's do this one. So that should really sparkle, because it's going to have like a whopping big dome over it. That's pretty. No idea what this one is. These other ones were from Jam Pot Glitters. This one, what's it called? It's nearly written, rubbed off now. I don't know what that's called, but I'm pretty sure that would have been from Glitter Stella, because that's my other main supplier. Really must write on the back of these with better pens. Now you can see this foil. See that foil? Flakes, gilding flakes. They haven't fully sunk. Those gilding flakes are so light, and I suppose because they've got a big surface area, that they don't tend to sink completely. You get it all through the resin. They tend to curl up instead, which is quite nice. Just trying to centre these roughly. Push them down a little bit more, I suppose. I don't mind if there's bubbles under them. We'll see. I'll probably, and this is why I didn't fill them right up, I'll probably go around and like top them all up or back them all with something. Some of them I'll just put clear, some I'll put some glitter maybe, some I'll put black or white. So that's it for now, folks. As those are nearly cured, I'm going to leave it probably, not long, probably another couple of hours tops, and then I'll come and shake off the excess on here, these glitters, and then we'll put those backs on. So see you in a bit. I'm back, and I've just had a brainwave as to what I might try on the back of some of these. I've got this set of floating pigment powders, and I've used the silver before, but I've not tried all the others, because I've got a separate pot of silver. And look, aren't they beautiful? Put in a bit of resin in too, so I've got 4 pots, and we'll see what happens. Right, so some of them, let's see, that one I want to do black. Pretty sure that one I want to do black as well. So black. Let's put a bit of black pigment in this one. This is actually from it's Vista. It's a Vista colour one. It's a very good pigment. I'm just using it up because I've got a lot left, and two, I'm gradually swapping over to a pigment paste, which is even more intense. So let's do our black ones first, and then we'll have a play with these others. At some point I will do a video on some other more sort of arty crafty techniques for things like your hearts. They're great for demonstrating things like the Petri effect in Petri, however you want to pronounce it. And yeah, all sorts of other funky effects. Actually, I think these glitter ones are going to go black as well. So I was going to dust those glitters off if you remember, but maybe not. I forgot totally. So I'm just going to spread it around, and I'll clear up the mess afterwards. This is just proof that it is a nice easy one for beginners, because I'm making a total mess of it here, and yeah, so if I can do it, anybody can. This stuff, be warned, I've used the silver one. This powder goes everywhere, and they call it floating powder because it is so light. So you can use it, you know, paint it into your moulds like with any kind of mica powder. Oh, look at that lovely colour. Or, you know, whatever you want to do really. But what you will get is a little bit will always float up to the surface, or you could use it completely as a floater on the surface. It's up to you. Probably don't need as much as that, but oh, look at that. That's gorgeous, isn't it? So yeah, you'll get a certain amount float to the surface, or you can just drizzle it across the surface as a powder, trail it around. I've done some of that with the silver, and you end up with this absolutely gorgeous effect with a little bit of floatiness on the back. So this one, as you can see, is like a coppery colour. Where else should we put that? Let's put that on the back of the fabric one. I'm dying to see what that fabric comes out like. I can see it's soaked in. The you know, the moisture out of the resin is actually soaked into the fabric. So it'll be interesting to see how much colour it's retained. I'll put your links for everything down below, by the way. A lot of these papers I've probably had for 20 years. I think they moved house with me, some of them. They go way back when, so I'm not going to be able to help you with most of the paper. But the pigments, the stirry sticks, the little pots, the moulds, all that sort of stuff, that I can certainly help you with. And the two glitter brands that I use. So I'm going to carry on round all these. You may want to fast forward. I leave that entirely up to you. If you want, oh, I've got a bit there. Oh, I'll tell you what, let's do a bit of each colour. That's nice. So spice gold. Oh, what was the other one called? What was that bronzy coloured? Blazing bronze. Nice. This is spice gold. I'm going to use a bit less because I'm sure I used way too much on that last one. That's still way too much. Nice. Nice. Is it me, or is this turned from a demo on making pocket hugs into a product review of some rather nice powders? There we are. I can't remember what's on the other side of half of these, which isn't helping. Now again, you could back these off with some ultraviolet curing resin. You could just put clear and then drop some black ink on, or whatever. They're a good chance to mess about, really. But even with automating some of the processes I've done here with getting my Cricut machine cutting things out, I think what you'll see is that they're all going to be unique. So if you're making gifts for someone, It's just the job really, isn't it? There's sort of little thing, you know, you might make them for last day of school for teachers. Not done the ordinary gold, let's do gold. And I'm going to have to show you that silver. I'm going to end up mixing up a little bit more resin to do that. Or, no, I could split that pot, couldn't I? Now, I was going to say, if you use these powders, when you try again, when you're using resin, you've got your mask, your respirator, and your probably goggles and everything, all your PPE on the go. So the dust that this stuff kicks off, and any other pigment, but any other powders that you use, to be honest, isn't too much of an issue. Oh goodness, that's proper gold. Isn't too much of an issue. But if you're using your powders like these with other things, so you haven't got your respirator on and everything, for goodness sake, at least wear a dust mask, please, people. These powders float around in the air like crazy because they're so fine, and you really don't want things in your lungs that shouldn't be in your lungs. So at least wear yourself a dust mask. That's nice. I'll put the lid back on it. I'll check what this one's called. They came in a set, as you saw. I've wrecked the box. But they come in a nice set. And really, I should keep them in boxes because then I'd know what I've got properly. But as I've wrecked that one, I won't be doing that with that particular one. So there's a gold. There we are. So we've got black gold. I've got a bit of this coppery colour, this rich gold left. What's it called? Spice gold. I'm just going to chuck that in there with it. Let's do another one. There you go, let's go this one. And then the rest I'm going to do in silver, I think, just to see what the silver looks like. Well, I know what the silver looks like, but, you know, if we're going to do the whole set, I might as well do the silvers. Yeah, let's do the whole set properly, eh? Shall we? I'm talking to myself again. Dearie me. You know, you lot watching these videos, thank you so much for watching, first of all. But secondly, thank you for giving me a reason for it to be okay to talk to myself. I no longer have imaginary friends. I have crafty friends. I did when I was a kid, you know, I had imaginary friends. I had an imaginary spaceship too, but that's a whole other story. There. A bit daft really opening a fresh pot because I have got a pot of the silver already open. But as I've seemed to have gone into product demo mode, let's go for it. Oh, now normally I wouldn't be opening these directly above where I'm working because of course it's getting into kind of everywhere, isn't it? But that's the only way to stay in shot. Can you see it all floating around in the air? So you see what I mean about wearing a mask. This is probably not good either. Should clean the stick before I dip it back in. So I'm going to mix a bit more up. Oh look, the black's gone away from the edges on that one. And I think I'm going to do, happens if I put a bit of silver around the edge of that. Yeah, I'm going to do probably more of the silver, why not? Let's see what that does if I drizzle it across the black. Just made a mess basically, haven't I? Can you see the floating effect starting in some of these? Anyway, I'm going to mix up a bit more resin and get these last few done. So I'll basically see you for the demould. demold time. They are just slightly tacky on the back still, but close enough. And I did promise the lady who'd asked about these that I would try and get the video up today. Now that's the one that had the paper, which was glitter with the little flowers in it. You still see the flowers. There you go. Did get a little bit of the black come through, but there we are. I put some silver in with the black on the back of that one, and you can see it's floated. Right, let's go round in order, shall we? So this one's got the silver on the back, and that silver really has floated on the back of that. Isn't that beautiful? Anyway, there we go. Turn it over, and that is that shiny foil paper. Isn't that lovely? Ta-da! Oh, I like that. Now that paper was very pale blue with just the glitter on it, but putting the black behind it has made, and obviously the paper absorbing the resin has made that rather dramatic. Let's put this out of the way. It's messy mat. Needs to clean up. This one overspilled a little bit. I can't remember which of these now, you know. So let's trim it off when we turn it over. Oh, it's the paw print one. That's turned out nicer than I thought. I thought that might be a bit boring, but the magnifying effect on that slightly shimmery card, that's really worked. Okay, and the next. As you can see, this has got the gold back, and some of it's floated again. Do love how those floating powders do that. And oh, some of the gold got underneath my paper here, but that was just a shimmery black and white speckly paper pattern. Glitter in it. But this is what I mean, even if they go slightly wrong, they're personalised, aren't they? It makes them all individual, so they make nice little gifts. I'm impressed by that. That is more impressive than I thought. That was that bit of mirror card, and I did get a couple of bubbles under it that I think have actually added to the effect. But look at that! Blimey, what happens when you magnify mirror effect? So let's see what this one looks like. And there's the gold one. Those actually are pretty impressive, aren't they? And that really is just mirror card. It's the doming effect, isn't it? That's what's doing it. Okay, and oh, that's cute. Now that was the very pale baby pink with the glitter spots. Again, putting the darker colour behind it has kind of enhanced it. Oh, this one's gone all wonky. It slid to one side and tried to curl up. That was that foil paper, and I'm not sure about that. Usually when they go wrong, I'm still thinking, yeah, but it's still nice. Not overly impressed with that one. That's gorgeous. I'll leave that there. That is gorgeous. And that was the clear acetate. I'll show you some more of that. I've got a load of it. Look, these sort of things. I just found them on Amazon. I don't know where I got the swirl from one. I don't really know where that came from. But yeah, that's all it is. It's just acetate with a pattern on it. They're mostly from Kanban, I think those are. But I've had that one for a long time. Okay, and the next bit of trimming to do there. Oh, that glitter card, it's just lovely, isn't it? And that black edge just sets that off. Oh, nice. This is the one I just chucked glitter on the back, and then purple glitter first, and then the other glitter on the back, and then the black backing. Quite dramatic. So all you do with these when you finish with them is you take one of those little bits of card and you stick it on, little double-sided sticky pad or a dot of glue, and there is your little gift. Isn't that nice? And this is the foil flakes, the gilding flakes rather. A little bit of trimming to do. But that black has really set them off, hasn't it? That's quite dramatic. Just need to trim the little bit of excessive foil away. Any bits you can't trim away, by the way, just go around with a nail file. That's lovely. So I think we'll all agree, these are really easy makes. Well, you can make them complicated. Obviously, you can do... Well, that's pretty. That was just that black card with the glitter bits in it. And then I think that was the spiced gold on the back. So yeah, you can make them as complicated as you want. But these really are all my leftover bits of card. Well, most of them are. Not nice. That's the fabric. I like it. Isn't that lovely? I'll put you the link up, where would it be? Probably over here, to the other video I did like this with a load of these pocket hugs. But I use... Oh, look at that. That's just glitter. Yeah, sorry, got distracted there. Where I used a lot of things like origami paper and things like that. Those work really well as well. How lovely. And last but not least, that's that one that was called Bloopal, but then of course I put black behind it and just trim the edges off. That was that glitter overspill. See, that's how really easy it is to get rid of. Just trim it away, or as I said, go around with a nail file. So this one's called Bloopal, but because it's a bluey purple, but look how shiny that is. But because I put a dark colour behind it, then just looking at the backs of some of these, because I did mix a bit of black in with the gold on some of them. That's the one I scribbled on. Even that's gone quite interesting and nice. Don't know which ones I put the black in the middle of. I was just using up the last of my resin. Might be that one. That one I think is a scrapper. But the rest, that one the jury's out on. But the rest, aren't they lovely? So yeah, that's all you do. You get your bit of glue or your double-sided sticky pad. Stick them on like that. I'm absolutely adoring that one. You could do it in any colour as well, because you're only going to put whatever colour you fancy on the back. But yeah, so you just stick them on with your little sayings and you give them to your friends. And because they fit in your pocket, we call them pocket hugs. And so on, you see. So on and so forth. Right, there you go. Now, those of you who didn't know what pocket hugs were, that's what they are. They're like little gift cards. Just put a smile to someone's face, but also something they can keep with them in their handbag, in their pocket, or whatever. So, there we go. Hope you found that useful. If you like this little video, thumbs up please, that would be great. And look out for the video up in this corner where I'll give you some more ideas for different pocket hug makes. Of course, any of the techniques are transferable to many other things as well. So yeah, it'll pop up in this corner at the end of the video. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you for the next one.